are happening through all these companies coming and ruling our countries and all that. And the best thing is for our government to be able to stand on their own, and instead of consulting the US, but consult its people and make sure that we control our countries and its policies, and not adhere to the neoliberal agenda that is ruling the whole world, and the imperial agenda that comes from the Americans, and build our resources within our countries and develop them and make sure that they benefit the people of those countries rather than being taken away from us to other countries.
Emily Achaka is president of the non-governmental organization Circle for the Promotion of Sustainable Development, based in Benin, where World Bank and IMF structural adjustment programs have created massive poverty.
Nous ne voulons plus d'eux dans notre pays. Nous ne voulons plus nous laisser en paix et nous voulons vraiment.
We don't want the IMF and the World Bank here. We want them to leave us alone.
Au Bénin, aujourd'hui, des mouvements de base ont commencé par s'organiser, qui a commencé de lutter par rapport à ça depuis des années.
In Benin today, grassroots organizations have begun to organize themselves to fight structural adjustment. Our organization started fighting many years ago.
Le 19 septembre passé, en commun accord avec le CADTM, on avait prévu de faire sitting devant la Banque mondiale pour leur dire les 4 vérités, ce qui se passe, ce qui ne va pas au niveau des pays africains et ce que nous voulons au niveau des pays africains. Donc on a dû le faire, on a rassemblé des milliers de personnes devant la structure internationale de la Banque mondiale.
In September last year, we demonstrated in front of the IMF offices to voice our demands. We were able to assemble thousands of people.
Je veux voir un autre Afrique juste, et par rapport à ça, je dis qu'un autre Afrique est possible. Un autre Afrique juste est possible. Parce que l'Afrique dans laquelle je vis aujourd'hui, il y a trop d'injustice. Et par les stratégies de la Banque mondiale, les pauvres seront toujours pauvres, les riches seront toujours riches. Et je me battrai, je vais lutter jusqu'à la fin de ma mort pour que je puisse avoir un autre Afrique juste. Et là, même si je n'ai pas la chance d'avoir un autre Afrique possible dans la génération actuelle dans laquelle je fais partie, je suis sûre que les arrière-fils auront la chance d'avoir un autre Afrique plus juste et vivront en paix.
I want to see a just Africa. A just Africa is possible because in the Africa where I live, there are too many injustices. With the strategies of the World Bank, the poor will always be poor and the rich will always be rich. I will fight until I die so I can have a just Africa. Even if I don't have a chance to see it in this generation, I'm sure that our children's children will be able to have a just Africa where they can live in peace.
And Jerome Munye has lived in Korogocho, one of Nairobi's slums, for 25 years. He is a community mobilizer and has set up a radio station called Coach FM in Korogocho.
For us to be in a slum, it is not as a result of maybe us not being hard workers. We work very hard. But what about those who are up there, the decision makers, the politicians? Do they ever reason about, do they ever think of a person who lives in an informal settlement? They rarely do. We have to change that. And I think Coach FM is one of the tools that we have used. We have the resources. Let's have equitable distribution of the resources that we have. This is Burning Spear, the reggae artist, who said that there is enough for all, but one man wants it all for himself. Why do you want to take everything for yourself? Why? Just because you're in a leadership. For any operation to take place, it's we the people, we accept that. You can resist even if you're alone. So we should resist any kind of oppression, any kind of exploitation at any level. If Africa can be united, we have everything. We have what it takes to move the economy. We have what it takes to sustain our own people. And that is it. We can unite be one, resist any kind of oppression, aggression from anywhere, even from within the African countries. We'll be one.
Farah Malam.
Africa needs to have a common purpose, first of all. The common purpose should be the empowerment and the welfare of its own people, period. That can only come about if there is a fair system that's in place. I would like to see an African continent where the resources of Africa is for the Africans themselves, not for foreigners and outsiders for that matter, where it trades and deals with the rest of the world, because it's a global village, and but on fair terms, not on terms that are essentially lopsided and one-sided, that maintains the African continent as perpetually poor and starving, and the kind of pictures that you see when it sits on the biggest reserves of wealth in the world. I don't think the West will allow Africa to have its own democratic process to choose the leaders that will deliver it, because the West has a lot to lose in that. The West wants cheaper, what do you call, mineral resources, and control Africa. And I think give due credit to George Bush. You could say he's childish in his way, in his outlook. That he's not a brilliant guy. Yes, he's mediocre in his own right. But what the other Western leaders, American and European leaders in the past, would quote with sugar and the rest of it and take you many years to understand, he bared it all. No, everybody sees now the true colors, the naked colors of what the West stood for all these years. Yes.
Africa and this region is the cradle of humanity. We come here again to give back to the world that we want. A world that we are going, all of us, to own and possess. A world that is going to be inclusive. A world that will destroy the conspiracies of divide and rule. A world that is going to say no to profit. A world that is going to say no to commodification of our common goods like water. No matter what power they have, this time around, the World Social Forum has given us an opportunity to make a linkage with the others all over the world who are saying enough is enough.
You have been listening to African Resistance, the final episode of the documentary series, The Ravaging of Africa.
The Ravaging of Africa is dedicated to the memory of Patrice Lumumba.
This series was written by Asad Ismi and produced by Kristen Schwartz. Go to www.asadismi.ws. That's www.asadismi.ws for more information or to download the series.
Translation by Maziar Mahajir at Toronto Conversation Corner and Farid Omar. Voiceover by Benedicta Madavo.
Theme music is Ner Balankina by Captain Yaba from Ghana. On this episode, you also heard Mahanhela by Mabulu from Mozambique and singing by the Kenyan community organization, the Daughters of Mumbi.
The series was funded by Canadian Union of Public Employees Local 3903, QP National, Canadian Union of Postal Workers National, CUPW North Bay Local, Canadian Labour Congress, Public Service Alliance of Canada, Ontario Secondary School Teachers Federation, Ontario English Catholic Teachers Association, Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives, and Mining Watch Canada.
Thank you for listening.